Tonight we begin a quiet journey together. A journey that asks nothing of you, that carries you toward deep, unbroken rest and plants gentle seeds of peace in the garden of your mind. You do not need to try. You do not need to fix, achieve, or understand. You are allowed to soften. You are allowed to arrive just as you are. Let your breath be simple. Notice the coolness as it enters, the warmth as it leaves. Notice the soft weight of your body supported by the earth. The air knows how to move. The heart knows how to beat. The night knows how to hold you. Peace is not something you build. It is something you reveal, like a mountain lake that clears on its own when the wind grows still. The more you stop stirring the water, the more it reflects the sky. Let your feet relax, toes unclench, calves loosen, hips soften, belly untangles, chest easy, shoulders released, jaw relaxed, tongue resting, eyes calm in their gentle darkness. You do not have to hold yourself up. Let the ground hold you. In a valley ringed with mist, there once stood a quiet monastery, and within its cedar halls lived a teacher named Ryanin. He was known for a serene presence and a library that stretched from floor to rafters, silk-wrapped sutras, poems carried across deserts, pages inked by hands long returned to dust. For 40 years he tended that library like a garden, rising before dawn, lighting a single candle, reading in silence while the world still slept. Those hours were his truest prayer. One autumn night, a hard wind came down from the northern pass. A spark became flame, and flame leapt beam to beam. Bells rang, sandals raced across stone. In moments, the library was a lantern against the dark, then cinders against a paling sky. When morning broke, the shelves were ash, the scrolls were gone, and the monks stood trembling in the courtyard, their faces streaked with soot and tears. They turned to their teacher, expecting collapse, grief, a cry against fate. Ryanin sat upon a stone and watched the smoke rise. His hands were quiet in his lap. His face was sunlight after rain. "Master," a young monk asked, voice unsteady, "how can you be at peace when everything is gone?" Ryanin looked toward the blackened earth where his beloved library had stood. He lifted a small handful of ash and let it fall through his fingers. "Child," he said softly, "the teachings were never in the books. They were in the silence that read them. The fire has taken nothing that was truly mine." The monks wept again, but the tears were different now. Not despair, but release, as if the fire had burned through them as well, and left only the clear air of morning. Ryanin did not rebuild the library. He gathered his students and rebuilt the garden instead. "Let the wind be our scripture," he said. "Let the river be our sutra. The true text is written on water and in air and on the quiet between two breaths." Loss, when held gently, becomes a kind of grace. A fire can burn away only what is not essential. The rest remains untouched and utterly whole. Like a tree in late autumn, we can allow what must fall to fall, trusting that empty branches will one day flower again. When we stop reaching into the smoke for what has already become sky, the sky comes to rest in us. Let your breath deepen a little. Inhale and silently think, here. Exhale and silently think, now, here, now. The mind does not have to leave this moment to be free. Peace is the stillness that remains when you stop trying to be peaceful. At dawn on a riverbank, Ryanin led the monks to listen. Water moved over stone, a low, endless hymn. After a while he asked, Do you hear the silence beneath the river's song? The students strained, puzzled. They heard only current and murmuring reeds. Ryanin picked up a smooth stone and held it to the light. This stone exists because space allows it, he said. Sound exists because silence holds it. And you, my students, exist because awareness holds you. That awareness, unmoving, quiet, vast, is your true home. That evening, a scholar from the city arrived, known for questions and the weight of many books. He bowed and asked Ryanin for the essence of stillness. Ryanin poured tea and kept pouring as the cup overflowed, spilling onto the floor. "Stop!" the scholar cried. "The cup is full." Ryanin looked at him gently. "Exactly. How can stillness enter when the mind is already full of noise?" The scholar lowered his eyes. In that small bow, humility opened a space. When there is room, stillness comes on its own. It cannot be forced. It begins to shine when you stop polishing the mirror. If you like, notice the small pause at the top of your next inhale and the small pause at the bottom of your next exhale. Those quiet doorways are always open. You do not have to step through. You only have to notice that they are there. Many years later, long after Ryanin had become a story carried by the wind, a young monk named Satori came to the mountain. He sought his true face. He had studied and fasted, questioned and strained, but the mirror of the mind remained rippled and unclear. The new abbot, a quiet woman named Min, sent him to the pond by her hut. "Watch the moon tonight," she said, "and let it teach you." The pond held the moon like a silver coin. Then a breeze crossed, and the reflection broke into 1,000 trembling fragments. Satori watched through the night, tired and aching for clarity. At dawn, Min found him kneeling by the water, eyes red, heart heavy. "Master," he whispered, "the pond is too restless. I cannot see the moon as it truly is." Min touched the surface with a fingertip. Light trembled and resettled. "The moon has not changed," she said. "It is only the pond that forgot how to be still. Your mind is this water. Your thoughts are its ripples. When you believe the ripples, you mistake the reflection for the truth." Satori sat for days and did nothing but watch. Memories rose. He bowed to them. Desires sang. He listened without following. Questions formed. He let them pass like leaves on a current. Slowly, the ripples gentled. One morning, as dawn folded itself into day, he could no longer tell where his breath ended and the world began. The pond shimmered. Trees swayed. The sky opened like a mirror reflecting itself within itself. He laughed, not because he had found something, but because the searching had fallen away. When he returned to Min, she said only, "You have seen your face." He bowed. "It was never mine to see." Let go of effort for a while. Let go of naming. Let the river be river. Let the breath be breath. You do not need to hold the world together. It holds itself perfectly well. Time moved like a slow bell through the monastery. Satori grew old, eyes bright, steps unhurried. One evening, a novice asked him, "We study detachment, and yet I feel sorrow when things fade, when a friend leaves, when a flower folds, when day gives itself to night. How do I truly let go?" Satori drew a circle in the sand with a stick. "When the wind smooths this circle away, where does it go?" The novice frowned. "It doesn't go anywhere. The sand just moves." Satori smiled. "Exactly. Nothing is lost, only rearranged. Letting go is not a rejection of life. It is allowing life to move as it has always moved." When the storm finally came for Satori, he sat at his window and watched lightning crease the valley. He thought of his teacher Min and her teacher Ryanin and all the hands that had carried silence like a lantern through the dark. By morning, he had gone as softly as mist. On his table lay a single note. "Do not build a shrine for me. Sweep the floor, feed the birds, listen to the rain. When the wind brushes your cheek, know that I am breathing with you." From then on, whenever storms gathered, the incense smoke in the temple would curl into perfect spirals. The monks would smile and say, "Satori is sweeping again." Peace does not mean untouched by change. It means moved by change without being broken by it. The wave returns to the ocean, but the ocean never forgets the shape of the wave. Years later, another teacher emerged from the same stillness. Anzu, once the student who asked how to let go. Her hair held threads of silver. Her gaze held morning after rain. A traveler arrived at the gate, dusty from the road. "I have studied the sutras and crossed many mountains," he said. "How do I find peace?" Anzu poured 2 cups of tea and handed him one. "Do you taste the tea?" she asked. "Yes, teacher," she smiled. "Then peace is already here." Peace is not hidden. It is what remains when you stop trying to understand it. Before the first dawn, the world holds its breath. Even the stars seem to listen. In that soft pause between night and light, truth moves without words. Long after Anzu had become part of the mountain's memory, a wanderer named Hannah came to the monastery. She was tired of searching the world and not finding home. Given a straw mat and silence, she rose before dawn, swept the courtyard, ate in quiet, and sat with a candle until the wick was a red ember in the dark. At first, her mind roared for movement. Over days, it grew like waves that have forgotten the wind. One morning, she went to the old pond where Satori had watched the moon. The water reflected a single star trembling in the black. She listened and realized the sound she heard was not outside, but within, her own breathing, soft and steady. Each inhalation a birth, each exhalation a gentle release. She had been dying and being reborn countless times each moment without noticing. Tears came, not from sorrow, but recognition. Emptiness was not a lack. It was a sky that held everything. Hannah wrote a few words and pinned them to her wall. Before the dawn breaks, the sky holds its breath. Before the mind awakens, peace is already here. She became a teacher of gardens and evening stillness, more sunlight than speech, reminding visitors not to look for peace, but to notice where they are standing when they stop running. The mountain carried her too, as it carries all things. It carried her breath into the trees and the river and the wind that moves freely through the gates. Travelers who arrive before dawn would sometimes say that it felt as though the world had paused to listen for a single sound. A steady, quiet rhythm, like one breath moving through eternity. Impermanence does not mourn. It sings softly of the beauty of change, the way light fades and returns, the way love shifts and deepens, the way even stars burn and vanish only to rise again where we cannot see. Long after Hannah, a wandering monk named Ren came with no lineage but the one silence traces in every heart. He carried a bowl and a bamboo flute. He listened more than he spoke. He listened to footsteps disappearing into stillness, to snow becoming hush, to his own heartbeat dissolving into something vaster than thought. At the pond one evening, he lifted the flute and played notes so soft they barely touched the air. Each tone rose, trembled, and vanished. He realized then that sound does not fill silence. It reveals how infinite the silence already is. For weeks he did not play. He listened instead, until the one who listens and the world being listened to were the same open field. When his time came, Ren sat by the water at sunset. He played a single low note, then another, until the music was no longer separate from wind and leaves and ripples. When the last tone faded, he smiled and whispered, "All sound returns to silence. All form returns to the formless. All breath returns to the source." In the temple, his flute was placed where no one would touch it again. Sound returned to stillness. Yet the breath that played it moved on in every breeze that entered the courtyard. To live is to participate in that breath. To resist it is to suffer. To flow with it is to awaken. Awakening is not an event. It is remembering there was never a separate you. Just breath. Just awareness. Just this eternal now. Endlessly new. Many winters later, a traveler named Naoki arrived and confessed that the paths had tangled him. One teacher spoke of effort, another of surrender, one of silence, another of action. The gatekeeper smiled. This is the monastery where paths end. Naoki was given a broom and a stone path to sweep. Each evening, leaves returned as if they had never left. Frustration turned to curiosity, and curiosity to understanding. The work was not about conquering nature, it was about moving with it. By the river, the abbot asked, "Where does this river end?" "In the ocean," Naoki said. "And where does the ocean end?" Naoki did not answer. The abbot let a handful of water slip through his fingers. The river and the ocean are not two. The river's flowing is the ocean's longing. The ocean's stillness is the river's rest. Every joy, every sorrow, every breath rises, passes, returns. Returning is not loss, it is homecoming. That night, Naoki understood why paths end here. Peace is not ahead, it is underneath. It is the ground that has been holding you since the first step. There was another elder, Kosen, who taught by presence more than words. He sat beneath the moon one night while a young monk confessed a quiet fear. The fear of not being enough, the fear of disappearing into the dark. Kosen asked, "Do you hear the stream?" The monk listened to the faint murmur beyond the courtyard walls. "It flows without trying to last," said Kosen. "Each drop appears and joins the next. None are lost. The stream only seems to move. In truth, it is always whole. You think you are a single drop. In truth, you are water. Fear comes when the drop forgets it is the stream." The monk's breath settled. The night opened. Stars shone without effort. Kosen looked up and said, "Even the stars rest. They do not strive to be beautiful. The universe does not try to be itself. It simply is. When you sleep, let go of who you think you are. Float like a leaf on the river of breath. You do not need to reach peace. Peace has already found you." This is the gentle secret of Buddhism for sleep. You do not need to become someone peaceful. You only need to stop pretending you are anything other than peace. The lake beneath the ripples is already clear. The sky behind the clouds is already blue. The awareness beneath thought is already at rest. Thoughts will come and go. Sensations will come and go. Dreams will come and go. What you are does not come or go. Let the stories fade to the edges now, like lanterns dimming in a temple after prayer. Keep only what is simple. The breath comes and goes. The body softens. The floor holds you. The night cradles you. You are safe. If any worry rises, let it approach like a visitor at the threshold. Offer it a cup of quiet and watch as it forgets why it came. If any tightness appears, see if you can meet it with kindness. Kindness is the warm hand that invites the knot to untie itself. If you like, you can silently offer these phrases to yourself, as softly as a leaf touching water. May I be safe. May I be calm. May I be at ease. May I rest in the peace that does not end. Send the same wish to anyone you love, anyone you struggle with, and finally to all beings everywhere. What you wish for others settles in you. You are not the ripples. You are the lake. You are not the clouds. You are the sky. You are not the breath. You are the space that breathes. You are not the passing stories. You are the listening. You are not the seeker. You are the stillness in which seeking rises and quiets. Imagine the old pond under the moon. The surface is clear and the reflection is whole. Imagine the river meeting the ocean and realizing it has been ocean all along. Imagine the wind moving through cedar boughs and remembering every voice it has ever carried, loving them and letting them go. Imagine the first light before dawn, the sky holding its breath, the world waiting to wake. What you imagine is pointing to what is already here. Sleep begins the way all awakenings begin, in the moment you stop trying. The body knows how to drift, as a boat knows how to follow the tide. Let the currents carry you. If a thought rises, smile at it like a firefly in summer. If a sound arrives, let it be part of the lullaby. If a feeling asks for room, give it room, and it will settle like snow in a quiet field. Tonight, you do not have to become enlightened. You only have to become soft. Soft as water wearing stone to silk. Soft as breath, entering and leaving a doorway that no one guards. Soft as linen hanging in a warm wind. This softness is not weakness. It is trust. It is surrender to a peace that was here before you and will be here after you, because it is you. If sleep has already taken you, let it take you deeper. If you are still listening, rest a little more in the simple rhythm of here and now. Inhale, here. Exhale, now. The stories will continue while you dream. Ryanin's garden will bloom. The river will sing beneath the song. The moon will float unbroken across the pond. The wind will remember everyone it has ever touched and move on, free and full dot. If you are still listening, let the night open a little wider. The breath continues as it has always continued. You are carried. You are held. You are safe. There is a simple story told on the mountain about a monk crossing a misty lake in a small wooden boat. Through the fog, another boat drifted fast and struck his side, jolting him hard. The monk's chest flooded with anger. He stood to shout, ready to scold the careless stranger. But when the fog thinned, he saw the truth. The other boat was empty. All at once, the anger dissolved, and he began to laugh softly into the morning air. Thoughts and feelings are like that boat. They bump into you. An instinct says, someone did this to me. Look again. Much of what collides with us is empty of intention. When a worry knocks against you tonight, see if it is only an empty boat made of memory, habit, or wind. When nothing is steering it, you do not have to take it personally. You can watch it drift away. Let the breath be kind. Inhale as if you are smelling rain. Exhale as if you are fogging a window with warmth. If the mind wants to help, give it a small, gentle task. On the inhale, silently say thank you. On the exhale, silently say release. Thank you. Release. Gratitude softens the hand. Letting go opens the palm. There was once a farmer whose horse ran away. The neighbors came and cried, "Such bad luck!" The farmer said, "Maybe." The next day the horse returned with 2 wild companions. The neighbors cheered, "Such good luck!" The farmer said, "Maybe." Later the farmer's son tried to ride one of the wild horses, fell and broke his leg. "Such bad luck," they said. "Maybe," the farmer replied. A week later, soldiers came to take the village's young men to war. They left the farmer's son because of his injury. "Such good luck," said the neighbors. "Maybe," said the farmer. Sleep asks us to put down the quick labels, good, bad, win, loss, and let the day unhook itself from our shoulders. Not everything needs a verdict. Not every wave needs a name. What is here can be here without a story. Imagine a lantern set at the temple door, its light steady and soft. Moths circle and drift away. Each thought is just a moth. The light does not chase, and it does not cling. It simply shines. You too can be this quiet light. Thoughts may come. Let them circle. Let them pass. There was a potter named Emmy who worked in a small shed beside a bamboo grove. She formed bowls with patient hands, baking them in a kiln that glowed like a little sun in winter. One day, a bowl cracked as it cooled. Her heart sank. She lifted it gently and noticed that the crack made a slender path of light when she held it to the window. She began to fill the line with powdered gold, not to hide the fracture, but to honor it. When she finished, the bowl seemed to have kept a lightning bolt from a summer storm. The imperfection had become the design. You do not have to be unbroken to be whole. Whatever the day has cracked open in you can be lined with kindness. The night is gold enough. Some nights it helps to rest your attention on the simple weight of your body. Feel where the heels are, the softness of the calf, the looseness of the knees, the warmth in the thighs, the gentle settling of the hips. Feel the belly moving as breath moves. Feel the chest quiet as the heart does its ancient work. Shoulders letting go of their stones, arms heavy and harmless, hands empty and at ease, neck soft, mouth unarmed, eyes soothed by their darkness. Let the face be like the surface of a calm lake. In this softness, you are not falling apart. You are falling into place. A bamboo grove taught a lesson during a mountain storm. Tall trees cracked under the furious wind, but the bamboo bent and did not break. When the morning sun returned, bamboo stood upright as if bowing had been the whole practice. Strength is not always rigid. Often it is the willingness to yield. Tonight, yield. Let the wind have its way with what it wants, while your root remains in the quiet ground of being. A tea master once walked through a garden with a tired student. The student asked, "How do I stop the mind from racing?" The master plucked a ripe persimmon and placed it in the student's hands. "Feel the weight," he said. "Feel the cool skin. Smell the sweetness. Take a slow bite." The student obeyed and felt tears rise for no reason he could name. The master smiled. When you are where you are, the world stops running. The taste of tea, the touch of linen, the sound of wind on a wall, the simplest things bring the mind home. Sometimes you might sense heaviness in the chest, a residue of the day. Let the breath be your lantern. Imagine that each inhalation meets the heaviness with warmth, and each exhalation gives that warmth away to anyone who needs it. Breathing in, you gather courage. Breathing out, you offer kindness. There is nothing to force. Warmth naturally spreads. A traveler once asked a hermit, "What is the nature of mind?" The hermit said, "Look at the sky." The traveler looked up at blue and drifting white. "Now," said the hermit, "look at your mind looking." The traveler felt something unseen relax. The sky above and the sky within were not different. Clouds of thought move. The sky stays. Worry is a cloud. Fear is a cloud. Plans are clouds. The sky is not threatened by any weather. You are the sky. If a memory arrives, let it sit beside you for a while. If it wants to talk, let it talk. When it is finished, thank it for visiting and let it find its own way back into the dark. You do not have to escort it. You do not have to debate it. Your job is simply to be a kind host to all passing guests. A bell rings in the valley, and the sound drifts outward in widening circles until it dissolves into silence. The silence is not the end of the sound. It is the home of the sound. When the last thoughts of the day dissolve, they are not lost. They have returned to where they began. There was a gardener called Aiko who grew herbs along the monastery wall. She found a small bird fallen from its nest and felt a pang of helpless love. She wrapped it in linen and warmed it with her palms. It lived. She knew it might still not survive. For days she fed it drop by drop, not clinging to any outcome, just answering life with life. Whether the bird grew strong or returned to the earth, the tenderness was the same. Compassion is not a strategy. It is a way of seeing. Tonight, let yourself be held in the same gaze you would offer a small thing that is learning to fly. Another story. A student asked, "What is the path?" The teacher said, "Walk." "Where does it lead?" "Here." "How long does it take?" "Until you stop asking." This is not a riddle meant to tease you. It is an invitation to feel your existence before the questions arrive. Before the names, before the roles, before the plans, there is a simple aliveness that asks for nothing. That is what carries you into sleep. Imagine you are sitting on a shore at dusk. Waves arrive, hesitate, and return. Each wave is a thought, an image, a feeling. You do not have to enter the water. The rhythm itself is soothing. Behind the rhythm is a vastness that does not move, the same vastness that holds stars. You are not separate from that. There is an old koan. Show me your original face, the one you had before your parents were born. This is not about time. It is about the unchanging awareness that was present before a name was given, and that will be present after the last story ends. The original face is not a face at all. It is the clear, open presence that is hearing these words, that is hearing the quiet behind these words. Rest back into that presence, the way a wave rests back into the sea. A woodcutter once asked a monk how to be free. "Chop wood," said the monk. "Carry water." The woodcutter frowned. "I already do this," the monk smiled. "Then do it with your whole heart." Even in sleep, there is a way to be wholehearted. Let dreams come and go without judgment. The night will do the work. Your only work is surrender. If you feel a thread of anxiety hum through the body, meet it with curiosity rather than resistance. Ask gently, where do you begin? Where do you end? What do you need? Often the answer is simple. Warmth, kindness, a little breath, permission to soften. Offer those freely. The thread loosens when it is not pulled. A fisherman takes a small boat onto a lake under a full moon. He tries to catch the moon with his net and finds only water and light on his hands. He laughs at himself and lies back in the boat, letting the sky be sky. The mind tries to catch peace and finds only reflections. The heart leans back and discovers that peace arrives on its own when there is nothing to hold. If you want a blessing for tonight, let it be this. May your body feel trusted. May your breath be generous. May your mind grow quiet enough to hear the softest truths. May your sleep be deep and kind. May you wake as gently as dawn. Somewhere, a candle is burning in a stone alcove. It does not argue with the dark. It does not tell the dark what to do. It simply gives light and allows the rest. Your breath is this candle. The dark is not your enemy. It is the room in which peace becomes visible. There is a tale of a swordsman who challenged a tea master to a duel. The tea master was terrified and sought advice from a monk. "Perform the tea ceremony as if it is your last," said the monk. "Pour with your whole life." At dawn, the tea master prepared bowls with such presents that the swordsman bowed and walked away, saying, "I cannot fight someone who has already given everything." Presence disarms fear. The more fully you meet this moment, the less there is to defend. Perhaps you can sense that you are being breathed. The body moves, but you are not pushing it. The heart beats, but you are not ordering it. Sleep comes as a tide, not a task. Let the tide rise. Let it cover the stones of thought. Let it turn their edges smooth. A final story for the night. A teacher asked her students to listen for the most beautiful sound in the temple. They closed their eyes. Wind through cedar, water over stone, bell and birds. When they opened their eyes, the teacher touched her chest and said, "For me, it is this." They leaned closer and heard it. Soft, steady, ordinary, the sound of breath. The world breathes you. The mountain breathes you. The stars breathe you. The breath and the listener are not two. If a dream begins to form, let it form. If no dream comes, rest in the blank page. Either way, you are held. Nothing is missing. Nothing is wrong. You do not need to fix your sleep. You do not need to measure it. You do not need to make it special. It will deepen exactly as much as it needs to. Trust is the doorway. Let your inner voice grow quieter, like steps fading down a corridor. Let your attention widen until it includes the entire room. Then the night outside, then the distance between stars, then the place before distance. In that openness, what you are continues without effort. You do not need to remember any of this in the morning. The body will remember rest. The heart will remember gentleness. The mind will remember that not everything needs to be held. Tonight, may you become soft water. May you become quiet sky. May you become the pond that holds the moon without trying, and the moon that shines without knowing. May you become the wind that remembers every story and moves on freely. May you become the garden that grows from ash, green and patient, certain of spring. If sleep has taken you, go deeper. If you are still drifting, drift a little more. Inhale here, exhale now. The door to peace was never locked. The key is the letting go already happening in every breath. You have arrived again and again in the only place you can ever be, this simple, silent, shining moment. Rest here. Stay as long as you like. The night will keep watch. The The world will be new in the morning. If you are still drifting, drift more gently. The night keeps opening, the breath keeps arriving, and you are carried without effort. You are safe here, and you are welcome exactly as you are. Two monks were walking back to the monastery after rain. At a river, they found a young woman unable to cross the rushing water. One monk lifted her easily and carried her to the far bank, set her down, bowed, and continued on. Hours later, as they neared the gates, the other monk said, "We are not supposed to touch women. Why did you carry her?" The first monk smiled softly. "I set her down at the river. Are you still carrying her?" If a thought about the day returns, notice whether you are still carrying it. You are allowed to set it down. The river has already moved on. In a quiet kitchen, late at night, a pot of rice breathes tiny clouds into the dim light. A kettle hums, then softens. A wooden ladle rests, warm in the hands of someone who is in no hurry. The door is slightly open to the garden. You can almost hear the earth cooling, the small night things going about their secret business. The world knows how to rest. Let your body learn from it. There is a teaching about a raft. You build a raft to cross a river, and it carries you safely to the other side. When you reach the far shore, you do not lift the raft onto your back and carry it through the forest. You bow to it with gratitude and leave it by the water for someone else. The beliefs and plans that helped you through the day do not need to be held all night. Let them rest by the shore. The crossing is complete. Your work is to walk lightly into sleep. A lantern burns in a stone niche. The flame leans, straightens, and leans again. Shadows move. The light does not try to capture the shadows or make them stay still. It simply shines. Your awareness can be like this lantern. Let the movements of mind be movements. Nothing in you needs to chase them. A stonecutter once envied everyone he saw. He wished to be a rich merchant, and he found himself in silk and jewels. He wished to be a powerful official, and he wore a robe with gold thread. He wished to be the sun, and he burned high above the world. Then he wished to be a cloud that could block the sun, and he floated wide and soft. He wished to be the wind that pushed the cloud, and he roared across the mountains. He wished to be the mountain that stopped the wind, and he stood unmoved. At last, he wished to be a stonecutter again, and he felt, with relief, the weight of a hammer in his palm, the cool shade, the solid earth beneath his feet. He understood that peace had always been where his feet touched the ground. Tonight, you do not need to be anyone else. You do not need to be better or different. You are allowed to be the simple, tender being that breathes and sleeps and wakes with the sun. Some teachers say that loving kindness is a lamp you light first for yourself so that you can see the world clearly. If you want, you can offer a quiet blessing to your own heart. May I be safe. May I be calm. May I sleep deeply. Let the same blessing expand outward in soft circles to someone you love, to someone you find difficult, to the people sleeping near and far, and finally to all beings under this same night. The wish itself is a kind of rest. There is a poem about snow falling on a bamboo grove. The canes bend and bend under the gathering weight. Then suddenly, a soft, hollow whoosh as the snow lets go, and the bamboo springs upright, throwing the white burden back to the earth, unharmed. The body knows this motion. It knows how to bend and release. Let the day slide off your shoulders. Nothing in you needs to hold more than it can hold. A bell maker once asked the valley for gifts. Farmers brought rusted tools. A mother offered a hairpin. A fisherman gave a bent hook. A child arrived with a small tin toy. The bell maker melted them all together, poured the bright river of metal into a waiting mold, and waited. When the bell was hung and struck for the first time, the entire valley heard it. Inside its tone were fields and nets and kitchens and laughter and lullabies, hands and weather and years. Your day is like this bell. Every piece of it has been melted down by evening, poured into the shape of rest. The tone that remains is simple and whole. A student once asked a teacher how to find the sacred. The teacher said, "Have you eaten?" "Yes." "Then wash your bowl. The ordinary will carry you." Let the simplest things be enough. The feel of fabric against your skin, the slow coolness of air on your face, the faint echo of a distant sound fading into quiet. When you are where you are, the world becomes tender. An old master was asked, "What is Zen?" He said, "Attention." "And what is attention?" "Attention." Tonight, attention can be soft and wide, like a lake that accepts the moon without effort. Not a narrow stare, not a tight grip, only a simple willingness to be here. In a courtyard, dew gathers on each blade of grass. Each drop reflects the entire sky. Nothing is too small to hold the whole. A single breath contains the entire teaching. Let your next breath be that simple drop. It has always known how to arrive and how to go. There is a saying, "The bamboo shadows sweep the steps, but not a speck of dust is stirred." The moon's light penetrates the deep pool, yet not a trace remains. Movements can pass through you without leaving a mark. Sounds and thoughts can come and go without needing to be stored. Your body is allowed to feel quiet after the day. Your mind is allowed to be light. Another traveler came to the monastery, full of questions. He approached a hermit and asked, "What is the truth?" The hermit pointed to a pine tree. The traveler waited for an explanation, but none came. The pines swayed, the wind moved, a single cone fell on the path. The truth did not argue. It simply stood and breathed and dropped what was ready to fall. If any thought tonight asks for an argument, you do not have to give it one. Let the pine be pine. Let the thought pass. By the river at dusk, a child tried to catch minnows with his hands. The water slipped away, leaving only bright flashes and ripples. A monk knelt and cupped water in his palms, held it to the child's face, and said, "Sometimes seeing clearly is more than catching." Let sleep come the way minnows move, quick glimmers that become the river again. You do not have to grasp a single one. There is a koan. What was your original face before your parents were born? Perhaps you can sense it not as a picture, but as openness, as a quiet presence that has always been. It does not wear out. It does not begin or end. It is what is listening now, and what will listen to dreams without effort. Rest as that. A story is told about a calligrapher who practiced writing the character for one his entire life. Each morning, he would grind the ink, sit with a straight back, and write one. Some days the line was wobbly, some days elegant, some days ordinary. He never tried to impress anyone, and he never stopped. One day, a student asked how he knew when it was perfect. The calligrapher smiled. "It is perfect whenever I forget to improve it. Sleep comes easily when you forget to improve yourself." Imagine a meadow at the edge of the forest. Fireflies begin to blink like quiet punctuation in a long sentence of grass. Something ancient settles over the earth, a promise made every evening since the first evening. Rest now. The stars will keep vigil. Your breath will keep the rhythm. The world will still be here in the morning. Two carpenters repaired an old gate. One worked quickly, eager to finish, and the wood resisted, splintered, and complained. The other moved in time with his breath. Cut, place, breathe. Sand, breathe. Fit, breathe. The gate seemed to accept his hands. When they were done, both gates stood, but one felt like an argument and the other like a welcome. Your sleep can be a welcome you give yourself. Let each breath be part of the making. A woman asked a monk how to soften fear. The monk handed her an empty bowl and said, "Fill it with the sound of rain." She stood outside for a long time, then came back and placed the empty bowl on the table. The monk nodded. Sometimes the point is not to fill, but to listen. If fear speaks tonight, let it speak into a wide, empty bowl. It will tire of its own echo and grow quiet. In a mountain village, a bell was struck at dawn and dusk. Children learned to pause when they heard it, to feel their feet on the earth and their breath in their bodies. When those children became old, their joints stiffened, their hair whitened, and the bell still brought them home in an instant. You can let any small sound be your bell, even the faintest whisper of your own breath. Each moment of noticing is a homecoming. There is an old frog pond. What makes the pond beloved is not the frog or the splash, but the moment before and after, the hush that reveals the sound. Quiet is not the absence of life. It is the generous space that lets life be heard. Your sleep is held in that same generosity. A novice asked, "How do I open the door to peace?" The teacher said, "See if it was ever closed." The novice looked puzzled, then laughed without knowing why. The door you seek was never locked. The hinge is your breath, swinging inward, swinging outward, without a sound. Imagine placing a smooth pebble in a bowl of water. The pebble sinks and comes to rest on the bottom. It does not have to try to be still. It simply arrives where gravity was already asking it to be. Let your attention be that pebble. It can sink below the surface of thoughts into the quiet that has been waiting beneath all day. A baker wakes while the sky is still ink. She mixes flour and water and salt and waits for the living rise of dough. She does not pull at it or threaten it or plead. She gives it warmth and time. The dough becomes itself and then becomes bread, and the bread becomes kindness in the hands of people you will never meet. Your rest is like this quiet work. Give it time, give it warmth, and trust the life within it to rise on its own. Another image. A kite seen from far away looks free, dancing in empty blue. Up close, you see the line, thin and invisible against the light, connecting it to a quiet hand on the ground. Tonight, your breath is that quiet hand. Thoughts may float and tilt and play. The cord brings everything back without force. A fisherman repaired his nets by lamplight. A boy asked, "What is the most important knot?" The fisherman smiled. "The one that comes undone easily in the morning. Tomorrow will ask for new shapes. Tonight is for untying. See if you can let the knots of the day release. Your body knows how." A final tale for now. A young woman asked an elder, "How do I keep the mind from wandering?" The elder pointed to a path through a field of tall grass, curved like a question mark. Walking together, the elder said, "Minds wander. That is what they do. Let it wander through soft grass, not brambles. Offer it gentle things to notice and kind places to rest. Offer it the sound of your breath, the weight of your body, the kindness of the night. Then when it grows tired, it will come home." The night is steady. The bed is steady. Your breath is steady. You are allowed to sleep as deeply as the ocean sleeps between tides. You are allowed to forget every name and remember only the simple warmth of being alive. Somewhere in the valley of your chest, a bell keeps ringing very softly. It rings for no one and for everyone. It rings without moving. It rings without sound. It is the feeling of peace that is not earned, not learned, not held. It is what remains when everything else is set down. If dreams come, let them come like friendly weather. If they pass, let them pass like clouds that do not touch the sky. You do not need to measure how well you are resting. The body is wiser than numbers. The heart is older than clocks. Trust what you cannot manage. May you be safe. May you be calm. May you be at ease. May your rest be a gift to the world you will meet in the morning. May all beings under this sky sleep in peace, and may they wake in kindness. Now the stories dim like lamps at the end of a long corridor. Keep only what feels soft and true. The rest can return to the stream. The stream returns to the ocean. The ocean returns to silence. Silence returns to you, and you return to yourself again and again without effort. Rest now. The night is keeping watch. The world will be new. If you are still here, let the night carry you a little farther. The body knows the way. The breath knows the way. You are being breathed, and that is enough. There is a story about a circle of novices who spent days creating a sand mandala on the stone floor of the hall. Grain by grain, they formed mountains, rivers, clouds, and stars. When it was complete, they bowed. Then the teacher entered with a soft broom. He smiled, and with one sweep, the entire universe dissolved into a gentle swirl. They gathered the colored sand and carried it to the river, releasing it to the current. Beauty is not lost when its shape changes. The river wore the mandala as light. What rises, returns. What returns, blesses. Your day, with all its patterns, is already dissolving into rest. Nothing good is gone. It has only changed form. Let warmth arrive crown to toes. Imagine a slow evening light moving through you. Across the forehead, smoothing lines. Around the eyes like warm water. Through the cheeks and jaw, loosening any small hold. Down the throat and shoulders, unhooking what tried to stay lifted. Through the chest, where the heart's work continues without asking anything in return. Across the belly, soft as folded cloth. Hips, thighs, knees, shins, ankles, soles, each part becoming heavy and kind. You do not need to be carried. You are already held. A villager once accused a monk of a great wrong. The monk said, "Is that so?" When the villager later returned with an apology and the truth, the monk said, "Is that so?" The monk was not dull. He was spacious. He let the world change without being forced to change with it. He allowed weather to be weather. Tonight, let your mind be that sky. A thought arrives. Is that so? A feeling arrives. Is that so? The sky does not wrestle with clouds. It receives them and remains itself. Night in the orchard is its own kind of prayer. Blossoms hold moonlight like breath. Bees sleep in their rooms of fragrance. The trees do not hurry their fruit. They trust seasons to ripen what should ripen. You do not need to hurry your healing. You do not need to hurry your sleep. Seasons know their work in you. Trust what grows in silence. In the temple courtyard, a small cat curls on a warm stone. It shifts once, sighs, and disappears into its simple dream. No philosophy, no effort, only a body answering night with night. Somewhere in you, that same animal ease waits. Let it have the pillow. Let it choose the softest part of you and settle down. If a restlessness hums through the chest, meet it gently. Breathe in as if you are gathering that restlessness into an embrace. Breathe out as if you are sending ease to the places that ache, within you and within anyone awake beneath this sky. Inhale, receive. Exhale, give. In giving ease, you receive ease. The heart learns by sharing. There was a painter who loved the mountain fog. He tried to paint it with 10,000 strokes. Each canvas looked heavy, as if the fog had become stone. An old friend told him to watch the valley at first light. The painter sat with the mist until it changed into nothing and everything. He returned to the studio and left wide spaces of rice paper unmarked. He added only what was needed to suggest what could never be caught. People looked and felt a coolness on their skin. Emptiness speaks when we are quiet. In your rest, you do not have to color every corner. Leave space. The space itself is the peace. Monks rake a garden of sand each morning. Circles around stones become ripples. Lines become wind. By dusk, the wind writes its own script, and the garden returns to blankness. The point was never to keep the pattern. The point was to be with the making and with the unmaking. Your mind is allowed to be like that garden. Patterns appear. Patterns fade. Peace belongs to both. A simple blessing. May I be safe in body and mind. May I be gentle with what I find. May I sleep deeply and wake kindly. May my rest be a gift to the day. Send it like a lantern down a dark river. Watch it float, warm and small, lighting the banks as it passes. There is a wooden bridge covered in soft moss. At night, the boards hold the footsteps of travelers and give them back as quiet echoes. The bridge asks only one thing. Lean into me. Let me carry you. You do not have to cross the night by yourself. Lean into the unseen bridge beneath you. The bed is a bridge. The breath is a bridge. The world itself is a bridge that knows the shape of your feet. A garden teaches patience by example. Seeds disappear. Nothing happens. Nothing happens. Then something green. Then something tender becomes itself without instruction. You can allow your sleep to grow the same way. Nothing happens. Nothing happens. Then the world becomes soft and wide, and you are already inside it. Sometimes the kindest thing is to give your mind one simple thing to rest upon. If you want, you can rest on this. The whole sky is breathing through me. Or this. I am allowed to rest. Or this, the oldest of prayers. Thank you. A candle burns low, wax pools and then stills. The flame leans, then stands. Shadows change rooms. When the flame goes out, the room does not become empty. The room becomes itself. Sleep is like the candle's last breath, not a vanishing, but a return to the wide room of being. In the hills, an old woman weaves at night. Her loom clicks and holds, clicks and holds. She does not try to remember each thread. She trusts the pattern to appear under her hands. In the morning, a cloth exists that did not exist before. Your body is weaving repair in the dark. You do not need to see it to believe it. The morning will show you what was made. A small boy asked a monk, "Where is the Buddha?" The monk pointed to the boy's breath fogging a window. The boy laughed and drew a circle in the mist. The monk laughed and drew a circle in the air. Everything we need is this near, closer than thought, as close as the next breath. On some nights, sorrow visits. If it comes, treat it like an ancestor. Offer it a chair. Let it speak. It will tell you what it needs. A little attention, a little time, a little kindness. Then it will stand, bow, and find its way out into the dark. You do not have to push it. You do not have to analyze it. Hospitality is enough. A traveler slept under a cypress. He woke before dawn and watched stars fade. He realized he could not say when night became morning, or where one ended and the other began. Peace is often like that. It arrives and only later you notice. The shoulders are lower, the face is softer, the room feels kind. Let it arrive unnoticed. It loves to surprise you. There is a koan that asks, "What is the sound of one hand?" Tonight, the sound is your breath. It does not argue. It does not hurry. It answers every question with the same gentle answer. Here, here, here. If the mind loops around a worry, offer it a different circle. Imagine walking slowly around a small lake. Moonlight follows on the water. Each step says yes to the ground. Each step says yes to being here. By the time you return to where you began, the lake and the moon and your steps have agreed to rest together. A porter carried water up the mountain every day. When asked how he kept his joy, he said, "I let the pail teach me. When it is full, I lift with both hands. When it is empty, I let it swing." Fullness and emptiness are both allowed. Tonight, if the heart feels full, hold it with 2 hands. If it feels empty, let it be light. In winter, the mountain breathes a slower breath. Streams narrow. Wind speaks in a small voice. Animals take shelter in their warmest rooms. They will return to the open later. For now, rest is wisdom. Your body carries this same winter. Give it permission to be quiet. Later will be for movement. Now is for sleep. 2 birds nested above the temple bell. When the bell rang, the nest swayed. The birds did not flee. The bell learned to ring softer for a time. The birds learned to nap through the sound. Everything adjusts. You can adjust as well. Let the world be as it is. Let your rest be as it is. Both can belong. There is a small practice the elders used to whisper at the threshold of dreams. Imagine a field at night, wide and open. Imagine a door in the sky opening to that field. From the door, a fine rain falls. Quiet light, soft warmth, covering the grass, your shoulders, your eyes. Nothing to do but receive. The rain is nameless. It is exactly what you need. If any part of you waits for permission, this is permission. You may sleep. You may sleep deeply. You may sleep without finishing the list. You may sleep without solving the puzzle. You may sleep without proving anything. A final story drifts along the ridge. A student asked a teacher for the quickest way to wake up. The teacher poured tea until the cup was full and kept pouring. The student shouted, "Stop! It is overflowing." The teacher said, "Then let it overflow." The tea ran over their hands and onto the ground, steaming in the cool air. The student laughed at the ridiculousness of it. In the laughter, something unclenched. Not everything needs to be held, not even peace. Let it overflow. Let it run where it wants to run. What remains in the cup will be enough. Listen for the smallest sound in the room. Maybe it is a clock. Maybe it is the hush of night. Maybe it is your own breath. Let that be the river. You are the bank. Rivers do not ask the bank to help them move. They move, and the bank keeps them company. If you dream, may your dreams be kind. If you do not dream, may your emptiness be kind. Either way, you are nestled in the oldest cradle, the cradle that held the first wind, the first star, the first sleep. May you be safe. May you be serene. May you be restored. May the world meet you in the morning the way the horizon meets the sun, softly, gladly, as if it had been waiting for you all along. Now let the words become thin as silk and lift away. Keep the simple things, the bed holding you, the breath moving you, the night blessing you. In this openness, nothing is missing. In this quiet, everything is home. The garden grows from ash. The moon rests in the pond. The wind remembers and moves on. And you, dear one, are already asleep in the heart of peace. Let the night pour itself softly around you. The breath continues like a tide you do not have to command. You are cradled by something older than thought. You are safe, and you are allowed to rest. There is an old teaching about the second arrow. A traveler is struck by an arrow and feels pain. Then he is struck by a second arrow, the one of worry. Why me? When will this end? What if it never does? The wise refuse the second arrow. They tend the first with kindness and do not add anything extra. If a twinge arises in the body or a thought hums in the mind, let it be only the first arrow. Offer it warmth and space, and do not wound yourself with more. The night knows how to take what it can and soften the rest. A master once held up a simple cup and said, "To me, this cup is already broken, not out of sadness, but out of love. Knowing its fate, I can enjoy its light, its cool water, its music when tapped. When it finally falls and shatters, I will say, of course, this is the way of things." The master drank and smiled. The day you just lived is already complete. You can set it down without regret. The cup of the day has poured itself out. There is nothing you must hold. Imagine moonlight resting on a stone path. The stones do not try to shine. They receive what arrives and give it back as calm. You can be like those stones. Let the breath land on you and spread its cool glow. Let the body answer by loosening everything it does not need to hold. In a small workshop behind the temple, a woman repaired robes by lamplight. Threads crossed and held, and places of wear became places of strength. You could not tell where the tear had been. The robe did not look new. It looked true. Sleep is like this quiet mending. Without announcement, it moves through the fabric of your day and makes it strong where it was thin. You do not need to see it happening. You will wake and feel the work. A young monk once said, "My mind keeps running." The teacher replied, "Then let it run in a safe meadow. Offer it soft grass, wide sky, and enough room to tire itself out. The mind loves gentle guidance more than a leash. If it wants something to notice, let it notice the kindness of the bed, the easy rhythm of breath, the faint glow behind closed eyes. These small fields are enough. There is a gate in some gardens called a moon gate, an open circle you walk through without a door. Passing under it feels like stepping into a blessing. Tonight, your breath is a moon gate. You step through with every inhale and exhale, and each time you are welcomed. You do not need a key. You do not need permission. The circle is already open. An elder swept the meditation hall and watched dust turn to sparkles where sunlight touched it. He said to a novice, "Look closely. Even dust knows how to shine when light finds it." The novice laughed and saw that nothing was unworthy of brightness. Whatever rises in you tonight can glow a little in the gentle light of attention and then fall back into quiet. Nothing needs to be hidden. Nothing needs to be chased. There is a story about a bell that was cast from many small gifts: needles, coins, bits of wire, a child's bent button. When the bell rang, all those little lives sang together. Your breath gathers your day in the same way. Every small effort, every kindness, every uncertainty, every smile, none of it is lost. It melts into the tone of rest and hums softly in the background, reminding you that you have done enough for now. If a worry returns, meet it like a courteous host at a late hour. You can say, "Thank you for visiting. The house is quiet. There is a blanket for you on the porch. I am going to sleep." Worries prefer to be acknowledged rather than argued with. Once greeted, they often remember where they were going and leave of their own accord. A fisherman once lay back in his boat at night and watched the stars. He reached out, and his hand came back empty, wet with a little river, lit with a little sky. He realized he did not need to take anything from the night to be nourished by it. Let rest be like that, an open palm under a vastness that feeds you by simple closeness. You do not need to capture it. You only need to be near. There was a novice who tried to carry water carefully so that not a drop would spill. He walked stiffly, eyes narrowed, muscles tight, and he arrived exhausted with a half-full bucket. Another novice walked with ease, stepping steadily, letting small splashes go. He arrived with the pail nearly full and the strength to climb the hill again. Tonight, you can walk into sleep like the second novice. Let little splashes happen. Let small sounds be small. Let thoughts sprinkle and evaporate. The fullness will take care of itself. In a winter garden, frost draws delicate ferns on the window. The pattern will vanish with the day, but now it is perfect. Your breathing draws momentary patterns too, little blooms of warmth in the cool room, little tides under the ribs. Perfect for now, gone when it is time. You do not need to keep anything. A child asked a monk where the wind goes when it stops. The monk turned his palm up and then down. The child nodded, as if this made perfect sense. Some truths do not need words. Your body understands rest without explanation. Your heart understands quiet without instruction. Your breath understands the path without a map. There is a saying, the 10,000 things return to the one. Where does the one return? To the quiet that holds everything. When the day returns to one simple breath, and that breath returns to the quiet, there is nothing more to do. This is the doorway all beings pass through each night. You are among friends. The potter Emmy, who once lined a crack with gold, sometimes set finished bowls on the shelf and stood back with her hands still. She said, "The bowl teaches me when to stop. Let your body be the teacher tonight. When it says enough effort, say yes. When it says turn, turn. When it says sleep, trust it. It has never stopped breathing for you. It will not stop guiding you now." An elder laughed with a student who said he wanted to be as calm as the mountain. The elder said, "Be the valley instead. The valley receives everything. The wind, the rain, the river, the shadows, and remains generous. Tonight, be the valley. Let every passing thing be welcomed. and let it pass. There is a small practice called tracing the stars, not with your hands, but with attention. Imagine a night sky inside the chest, wide and dark and kind. Each slow breath lights a star for a moment and lets it fade. There is no pattern to complete, no picture to reveal. The lighting and fading is enough. You are constellations of ease you do not need to name. Sometimes people ask how to forgive the day. One way is to bow to it and say, "You were what you were. Thank you for your teaching." Then bow to the night and say, "I am yours now. Take what I do not need. Give me what will help." The bow is a door that opens both ways. A cook cools a pot of soup by lifting the ladle slowly and letting it fall, lifting and falling until steam no longer rises. Your body cools the same way. Breath lifts and falls, and the heat of the day drifts away. You do not need to force the cooling. Time and air are skilled. A young woman once asked an old nun why the mind gets louder in the dark. The nun lit a candle and placed it near a paper screen. "Look," she said, "shadows grow larger on thin walls." Then she moved the candle closer to the center of the room, and the shadows softened. Bring your attention closer to the center, your simple breathing, the feel of your body at rest. The shadows on the walls of thought will grow softer on their own. There is an image the elders loved: cranes stepping in new snow. Each step is light and leaves a clear print. Then, while you sleep, snow falls again and covers everything. Morning is a blank field. You do not have to decide what path to take. You will make it as you go, one soft step at a time. A pilgrim asked what awakening felt like. The teacher said, "Like cold water on tired feet, like the first sip of tea after a long walk, like forgiving yourself for not being able to hold the sun. Sleep feels like this too. Simple relief, quiet goodness, the permission to be a creature and nothing more." If a part of you remains awake, let it be a guardian at ease, not a guard on duty. It can sit by the door of dreams with a shawl around its shoulders, warm and unafraid. The house is safe. The night is kind. It can drift off when it is ready. There is a temple dog who sleeps through the bells. He has learned their pattern by heart. Even the loudest moments become lullabies when you know they belong. The sounds of your own life, near and far, belong. Let them be part of the lullaby. May your breath continue like a river that never forgets the sea. May your body feel as trustworthy as the earth. May your mind be as open as the sky. May your heart be as gentle as a lantern behind rice paper. May your rest reach others without trying, the way the moonlight reaches the pond. When morning comes, it will come like it always does, quietly, then all at once. You do not have to pull it closer. It will arrive. For now, do nothing. Be warmed by your own life. Let the dream doors open if they want to open. Let them stay closed if they prefer to wait. Either way, you are inside the house of peace. The wind that remembers will pass by the eaves. The garden that grew from ash will breathe. The river will sing under its song. The moon will rest on the unbroken pond. And you will sleep deeply, kindly, fully, in the stillness that has been here from the beginning. If you are still here, let the quiet deepen like dusk turning to night. The breath continues to arrive and depart without any help from you. You are held by a peace that does not need your effort. There is a tale of a monk who practiced with fierce intensity. He slept little, pushed hard, and found only more struggle. A teacher asked him, Do you remember tuning a lute? If the string is too tight, it snaps. If the string is too loose, it will not sing. Only when it is in the middle does music appear. Let your effort be like the well-tuned string, not forcing, not collapsing. Sleep is a song that plays when you find the gentle middle. A woodcarver was asked how he made a bell stand so alive that it seemed to breathe. He said, "I did not make it. I quieted myself until I could see the bell stand sleeping inside the wood, and then I carved away what was not it." Rest is like this. You do not create peace. You let what is not peace fall away. Sometimes the mind tries to sweep the water smooth with a broom. Each stroke makes new ripples. The lake does not need to be swept. It needs the broom to be set down. Simply watch, and the surface clears on its own. A lotus grows in mud and rises clean. It does not despise the mud. It uses it. Whatever the day left on your hands can feed the flower of rest. Nothing has been wasted. Every moment brings you closer to the blossom opening by itself. Wind returns to small chimes hanging from a beam. The chimes sing when touched, then grow still, but the space that held the song remains. Thoughts ring and fade. The space that holds them is your ease. A teacher once placed a pinch of salt in a small cup of water and asked a student to drink. It tasted bitter. Then the teacher scattered a handful of salt into a wide river and asked the student to drink where the current moved. The bitterness was gone. When the heart is small, a little trouble is hard to hold. When the heart grows wide, the same trouble dissolves. Kindness widens the waters. Let tonight be a widening. A mason stacked stones along a path after rain. He did not force them into place. He turned each one in his hands until he felt its natural seat. Your body is like those stones. If there is a small ache, turn your attention a little. If a thought presses, set it on a softer shelf. There is a natural seat for everything. In a kitchen before dawn, a woman skims foam from a pot and lowers the heat. The soup will find its flavor if she does not rush it. Your sleep will find its depth if you do not stir it too often. Let it simmer. The night is a patient cook. A child once tried to catch sunlight in a jar and came running to show a monk the empty glass. The monk laughed with delight and lifted the jar to the child's cheek. Feel that? Warmth is everywhere. Peace is like sunlight. It is not something to trap. It is something to feel. There is a saying, ordinary mind is the way. Not a special trance, not a rare mood. The taste of water is enough. The feeling of cloth is enough. The breath that keeps arriving is enough. You do not have to be elsewhere. The gate is here. A gardener noticed that the more she tugged at a knot of vine, the tighter it twisted. She learned to soften her hand, to follow the tendril back to its beginning, and the knot undid itself. If a worry feels tight, trace it gently to where it starts. Often it ends in a simple need: rest, warmth, reassurance. Offer that, and the knot loosens. In a small shrine, an old monk trimmed the wick of a lamp, not to make it brighter than bright, but to keep it from smoking. Peace is not about adding light until it dazzles. It is about removing the smoke that stings the eyes. A little less thinking, a little more being. Two friends listened to a waterfall. One heard noise. The other heard the spaces that made the sound possible. Both were listening, but one found a bed in the quiet between the drops. If you listen now, the softest thing you can hear is already carrying you. A ceramics apprentice asked how to prevent cracks. The master said, Begin with softness. Let the clay rest between your hands. Do not hurry the drying. Do not rush the fire. There is a rhythm to strength. Your body knows it. Give it time and gentleness, and it will return you to the morning whole. A pilgrim slept under pines and woke to find needles woven into her hair. She laughed and left them there all day. Not every stray thing must be removed. If a fragment of the day remains in your thoughts, you can tuck it behind your ear and let it be part of your softness. By the river, a lantern reflected a long gold road across the water. A boy thought the light was a thing stretched on the surface. An elder showed him the flame and said, "The road is a gift the flame gives to the river. What you see in your thoughts is a gift your mind gives to the breath. You can allow both to be beautiful and pass by." There was a season when a farmer lost crops to rain. He learned to plant rice where water loved to linger, and barley where earth stayed high and dry. He did not fight the weather. He learned its dance. Sleep, too, has seasons. On some nights it floods in. On some nights it is a thin stream. Tonight, whatever its shape, let it be enough. A blind musician tuned his instrument by touch, then by listening to the instrument's own sigh when the tension was just right. The note was not forced. It arrived like a bird to an open hand. Let your next breath be that note. The hand is already open. There is a path of stepping stones across a shallow creek. You look down and see sky in the water. You look up and see sky above. You are walking between two skies, and each step knows where to land. Rest is like this. You are between kindnesses and cannot fall. A baker once burned a loaf and made crumbs for birds. In the morning, the birds sang at his window until he laughed at the bright mistake. Not every error needs a correction. Some become music. If the day held a misstep, let the birds have it. They know what to do. In the high hall of the monastery, an empty scroll hung where the library once stood. Visitors asked what scripture it was. The abbot smiled. The one that never ends. You can read it by closing your eyes. The text reaches you with each breath and says the same simple truth. Be. A traveler worried about the impossible size of the mountain. An elder gave him a cup of tea and said, "Drink the mountain 1 cup at a time. Sleep too can be met 1 breath at a time. You do not have to swallow the night. Sip it." Under a persimmon tree, a wind came and 1 ripe fruit fell into an open palm. The hand had not asked, it had simply been there. Let ease fall into you this way, by ripeness, not by effort. A poet wrote a single line each night before sleeping. Enough. Then she put down the brush and let the line finish her day. If you want a final thought, let it be this. Enough. There is a door in a garden wall that opens only inward. People pushed from the outside and called it locked. From the inside, it swung at a touch. Peace is like that door. It opens from within, and it has been unlocked all along. You are already on the side where it opens. When snow falls on a river, it hides the surface for a while, but the current remains sure beneath. Dreams are soft snow. The current of you will keep moving. Trust it. A monk was asked to define awakening in 1 breath. He said, "Not resisting what is. In this moment, what is rest. Let it be so." If you wake later in the night, nothing is broken. You have not stepped off the path. The path is wherever your foot lands. Feel the ground again. Feel the breath again. Let your body tip back into the river. In a small house by the sea, a mother soothed a child with a lullaby she could not fully remember. She hummed the pieces she knew, and the child slept anyway. You do not need the perfect words. You do not need the perfect ritual. You need only the willingness to hum what you can. The heart recognizes kindness and rests. There is a final image to hold lightly. Imagine a wide, quiet field before sunrise. Mist low, grass cool, a single bird thinking about song but not yet singing. The world is poised, complete in its not yet. You are that field. You do not have to produce anything. You do not have to begin. You are allowed to be the stillness before dawn. May what you lay down stay laid down. May what you need find you without hunting. May the room feel like a friend. May your breath carry you the last gentle distance. May the great silence that holds the stars hold you and keep holding you until morning leans in like light at the edge of the curtain and you open your eyes already rested, already home. If you are still here, let the quiet become even softer, like snowfall you can't hear but you can feel. The breath keeps arriving, the body keeps trusting, and you are held by a goodness older than your name. On a windy afternoon, two monks stood in a courtyard watching a flag flutter. One said, "The flag is moving." The other said, "No, the wind is moving." Their teacher walked by and smiled. "Neither the flag nor the wind is moving," he said. "Only your mind." He did not mean the world was still. He meant there is a stillness in which all movement happens, and when you rest there, everything is allowed and nothing is required of you. Tonight, you can rest where the flag and wind both belong. There is a story about a goose raised inside a glass bottle. When it was grown, the teacher asked the students how to free it without breaking the bottle or harming the bird. They argued for hours. At last, the teacher said, "Look." Everyone looked. He pointed to the mind making the bottle and the goose, and in that moment, the bottle vanished. The goose was already free. If a thought tonight says you are trapped, look gently to see if the bottle is made of thinking. If it is, the space is already open. Dawn once found a scribe copying a sutra so slowly that a line took an hour. A visitor asked, "Why not write more quickly? The teaching is the same." The scribe lifted the brush and watched one drop of ink shape itself on the tip. "I am not copying the text," he said. "I am copying the stillness that lets the text appear. Your breath is that stillness. It writes calm across the page of the night without rush and without end. Imagine a spider web jeweled with dew at first light. In each drop, the whole garden appears. Ferns, stones, distant sky. This is how the world truly is, say the elders. Each thing reflecting every other thing in a net of shining. Your rest is not private. When you soften, the web softens with you. When you sleep kindly, the kindness travels. A stone lay in the bed of a river for 100 winters. It did not fight the current. It did not praise it. The water polished its face until it became smooth as a palm. Tonight, let the river of breath polish you. You do not have to do anything to become smooth. Time and water know the way. There was a hermit who owned 2 bowls, one for rice, one for tea. When they chipped, he mended them. When they cracked beyond use, he thanked them and let them go. When asked if he felt poor, he laughed. "I eat, I drink, I sleep. I am rich." This richness is with you now, even if the day forgot to count it. Food, warmth, a place to lie down, in and out. Enough. A monk swept the steps every morning for years. One day a leaf clung to the broom. He tried to shake it loose. It held on. He tried again and laughed. He placed the broom down exactly as it was, leaf and all, and finished the sweeping with his hands. From then on, whenever something small insisted on staying, he let it ride. If a thought lingers, let it ride a while. The sweeping still happens. A painter ground ink in a stone well at dawn. The stone knew a patient circle. The hand learned slowness from the stone, and the mind learned slowness from the hand. The brush moved by itself. The line appeared where it was needed and nowhere else. Let the night teach your breathing in this simple way. Circular, patient, sufficient. There is a legend of a bell cast from iron drawn out of an ancient meteor. People came from miles around to hear it, certain they were listening to the sky itself. The bell's voice was deep and steady, but what moved them most was the moment after, when the tone dissolved into a silence that felt vast and intimate at once. This is how rest sounds. A tone you cannot name, fading into a spaciousness that includes everything and demands nothing. A novice brought a perfect flower to the old abbot and placed it on the altar. "Is this not beautiful?" he asked. The abbot nodded and then pointed to the empty vase beside it. "This too," he said. The novice frowned. Later he understood. Presence is beautiful. So is the space that holds presence. Your thoughts are blossoms. The quiet that holds them is the vase. Tonight, lean into the vase. A fisherman mended his net by moonlight, fingers learning the old knots in new ways. "What do you do with holes?" a boy asked. "I leave them where they belong," the fisherman said. "If you close every gap, no water, no life, no catch. You are allowed to leave spaces in your night. You do not have to complete everything. Wholeness includes holes." A student watched snow falling and asked, "Where does each flake decide to land?" The teacher held out his sleeve and said, "It doesn't decide. The sleeve arrives. You don't have to decide where sleep will meet you. You can be the sleeve. Open, soft, exactly where you are." A woman kept a small jar of ocean water on her table far from the shore. When she felt hurried, she held it up to the light and watched the salt crystals shine. "This is a reminder," she said to her friend. "Even a little ocean remembers all of it. Each breath is a small jar of the vastness that made you. It remembers enough for both of you." Sometimes people say, "I fell asleep," as if sleep is a ditch on a dark road. You are not falling, you are floating. The body becomes a small boat that the tide knows well. The stars do the navigation. The night lifts you and sets you gently in harbors you do not have to see. A young monk asked, "How do I stop judging?" The elder said, "Start with what is easiest. Bless the simple things." He pointed around the room. "Bless the mat for holding you. Bless the blanket for warming you. Bless the walls for keeping out the wind. Bless your breath for never leaving." Gratitude does not have to be grand. It can be as small as a nod. The nod is enough. There was a poet who wrote by the window. When a bird landed on the sill, she stopped writing and listened. When the bird flew away, she did not chase it with words. "My work," she said, "is to notice and to let go. Sleep is a kind of noticing, then a letting go, again and again." In a valley of rice paddies, farmers learned the rhythm of water gates. Lift a little, wait. Close a little, wait. They did not flood the field or starve it. They matched the need. If you find yourself adjusting your position or the attention of your mind, do it like those gates. Small, patient, in time with breath. A child asked, "Why do we bow to an empty cushion?" The caretaker smiled. "Because sometimes emptiness deserves a bow. Bow inward now, if only in your heart. Thank the quiet for being here, whether you notice it or not." Two travelers sheltered under a ledge while rain stitched fine silver lines across the landscape. One said, "The world is so loud." The other said, "The world is so thorough." They were both right. The rain finished its work and the hillside drank. Your rest is thorough. It will reach places thought cannot reach. In the monastery orchard, a ladder leaned against a pear tree all summer. When pears fell of their own weight, the novices laughed and called it the ladder's patience. Let your patience be like that. You do not have to climb. You can lean and wait, and sweetness will come down by itself. A pilgrim carried a small stone from the mountain and held it whenever she forgot where she came from. One day, she let the stone go beside a river and realized the memory had moved into her palm. You can let go of the object and keep the blessing. Let go of the thought. Keep the calm it pointed to. A teacher said, "I once believed awakening was a lightning strike. Now I know it is a lamp that someone keeps lighting and placing in my hands. Tonight, let the lamp be your breath. It lights itself. It asks nothing. It glows just enough to see this moment clearly." A weaver learned that the tightest weave can still let light through. She turned her cloth to the window and saw the room become softer. Your rest allows a gentle light to pass into tomorrow. You do not have to try. The weave of sleep is already making openings for it. There is a koan that asks, "Where do you go when you sleep?" The elders answer, "Where you already are. Not elsewhere, not far away, only deeper into the home you never left. That is why waking feels like returning. You were never gone." A boy asked his grandfather how to be brave. The old man took him to the shore at low tide. "Stand here," he said, "and let the smallest waves touch your feet." Then bigger waves came. The boy laughed and stayed. "Bravery prefers practice in small things," the grandfather said. "Tonight, the smallest waves are enough. The quiet sound of breath, the steady weight of your body, the simple truth that you made it to this moment. That is a good kind of brave." In a small zendo, a single reed of incense burned and curled its way into the rafters. The smoke did not make a point. It simply rose. Your rest does not have to make a point either. It can be the rising of what needs to rise, the settling of what needs to settle. A traveler wrote a line on a slip of paper and tucked it under her pillow wherever she slept. "You are welcome here." The message was for the room. It was also for herself. You are welcome here, exactly as you are, with nothing to fix before you sleep. There is a teaching about hands. One hand holds what is precious. The other hand opens to give it away. In time, both hands learn the other's work. Tonight, let both hands be open. Let rest arrive, and let it spread beyond you without effort. An elder carried a small bell and never rang it. When asked why, he said, "It reminds me that sound exists even in silence, waiting kindly." Sleep is like that. It exists even when you do not feel it yet, waiting kindly, ready when you are ready to be less ready. Somewhere, a fox tucks its nose under its tail. Somewhere, a lantern is blown out with a soft breath. Somewhere, A tide turns without announcement. Somewhere, a temple bell is about to ring and decides to wait for morning. You are in good company. The world knows how to rest. When the mind asks for a final thought, offer one so simple it dissolves as you say it. I am here. Or, it is enough. Or, thank you. Or only this. Yes. Let the yes be quiet and complete. If you wake again later, remember that the river of rest has many inlets. You can enter wherever you find water, a sip of breath, the feel of the sheet, the sense that night is a wide, warm room. Step in again. The river does not mind. It keeps returning for you. Now let the stories become thin as mist over a pond. Keep only what is soft and true. You are held. You are safe. You are welcome to sleep as deeply as the ocean between tides. The flag and the wind can move without you. The bottle was never real. The goose is already free. The bell's last note is home. The breath is a lamp that lights itself. Rest now, dear one. Rest the way mountains rest. Rest the way moonlight rests on water. Rest the way a seed rests in warm earth, certain of spring, certain of light. When morning reaches for you, it will find you. Until then, be found by sleep. Let the night keep you the way the ocean keeps a moonlit boat, quietly, steadily, without asking for anything in return. You are safe. You are held. Nothing more is needed. If a dream arrives, let it carry you. If no dream comes, let this wide, gentle emptiness be enough. Somewhere, a bell is waiting for morning. Somewhere, the garden breathes in the dark. Somewhere, the first bird is turning toward dawn. All of this is within you. Rest now like mountains. Rest dot. Rest like moonlight rests on water dot. Rest like a seed in warm earth, certain of spring. When the morning finds you, it will find you softer, lighter, and already home to your own peace. If this brought you calm, you can like and subscribe to Unik Monk, so more moments of stillness find you when you need them most. Thank you for being here. Good night.